This is the Timeshare Traveler. Today is episode 125. Hard to believe. Renting out your timeshare. So I get two major complaints from people. First of all, it says like timeshares are a scam. I hate the salesperson. They sold me something I can't use. The second thing I hear, which is the topic for today, is I can't use my points. Well, you do have options. You can rent them out. But first I'll go through an overview. Try extending your points first. I'll go through the options there. Timeshare rental companies, and they come in multiple flavors. I'll talk about how much you can make doing that. And then my guest here, Jeff, who's been doing it forever, where I'm just getting started, he'll talk about what he owns, and then he'll talk about how he rents his timeshares out and sort of how that all works. Before I do that, I'll tell you a little bit about my channel, then I'll jump right into the details. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter, Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. Oh, well, I'm back. The first thing is try extending your points first. The best is to use them every year, so that way you don't have to worry about this. But hey, life gets in the way. There are three basic steps for almost every timeshare. Often you can extend points for a year, rolling them forward. Guess what? There's always a fee. Or you can convert them to whole hotel points that never expire in most cases. Guess what? There's a fee. Or you can convert them to exchange like RCI or Interval International. Guess what? No surprise, there's a fee. The opposite is also true. If you don't have enough points, you can borrow, and there isn't actually a fee for that. So that's actually a good sign. So it's kind of that balance of how do you know how much you own. If you're constantly using them, no problem. That means it's the right amount. If you're constantly having to save them, maybe you've gotten too much and you need to consider what you're going to do with that. And one of the options we'll get into later. But let me move on to the next point. So the first thing to learn is what are the timeshare rental companies or people that allow you to do that kind of stuff. And again, I'm not listing everyone. There's kind of the do-it-yourself model. And this isn't everything. You can manage the calls, do the renting, leverage, you can have your own website, that's an option. Or there are platforms like Airbnb is one of those platforms where you can list it on there and rent it out there. Or VRBO is similar. Then there's Red Week and Koala, and I know in the case you can have someone manage it, and that's what I do. I don't want to become a rental expert. I might at some point, but because I'm getting into it, I just want to do like, okay, here are the points, you take care of it. Here's what I'm going to make. Great. That covers my maintenance and a little bit more, but we'll get into that. So I use Koala, and I'm just starting. And so they work because they have multiple timeshares companies, and they can manage all of those. They handle all the customers and check-in issues. They know the rental rules of my timeshare companies, so I'm, following all the rules as necessary. Again, that's kind of the hands-off approach, but I'm doing the Rentals for Beginners program, so that's the way you need to look what I'm doing. On to the next point. The next one is how much can you make? And now I'm sure you've all been in the timeshare presentation where they talk about you can make $5,000 a week or $10,000 a week and it only costs you $1,000. Well, got news for you. I've not had that happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that there isn't an example, but for the average person, I'm usually, I'll rent out 6 to 8 weeks and I'll have a free week from that or some number like that, or maybe rent 6 weeks out and have 1 week. So it's an incremental improvement, but I'm having someone manage it for me, so it's not another job. You can make a little more if you rent it all out yourself. So that, again, I don't go with what salespeople say. It's been my experience, and maybe someday I'll be good about that, and I'll explain how when I reach that point, I'll do another video to explain how I do that after I've learned how to do it. But for beginners, I wouldn't expect that. And again, I don't want to create a business. I want to use my timeshares. If I need to not use my timeshares for a short period, for a year or whatever, because I'm doing something else, I want the ability to rent them out and not just incur the maintenance. Again, that's the criticism people have is can't use it. What do I do? My reality is I make a small profit. I have others manage it because I don't want to be a landlord. My goal is to use my timeshares. I'm just reiterating a lot of the same points, but I think that's the point that fits most people who own timeshares. And now I'm going to introduce the timeshare rental real-life expert, Jeff.
Aloha. Thanks, Cliff. So my name is Jeff, and I do live here on Molokai. And I was talking to Cliff, and he wanted me to go over, the timeshares that I have, and go over how I handle those and what I do with them. I do live here on Molokai. We ended up buying a condo here in 2018. Been coming to Hawaii in general since about 2009. And as soon as we decided that we were going to keep coming back, I started looking into timeshares. And in 2011, I ended up getting a week at the Pono Kai on Kauai. And I got that. We ended up going there. We loved it. And we knew we were going to keep going back. Ended up getting another week pretty quick. So I had a couple weeks. And as the years went by, a couple years would go by, and we knew we wanted to try to either retire here or snowbird here. So I ended up accumulating more weeks at the Pono Kai. And all the weeks I got were, I guess I'd call them distressed weeks, where owners just wanted to get out of the maintenance fees. A lot of times it was during a bad economic downturn, when everybody was having problems traveling and there wasn't a lot of extra money around. So I was able to get these weeks for no money at all. Then the weeks that I didn't use, I just started renting. And I put an ad up on Craigslist was how I really got started. And then I was able to make my own website. I used Weebly, nothing fancy. Used that, and it ended up working right away. It's very easy. Started renting them out. And the way I price them, though, I'm not making a ton of money on it, but I make enough. I make about $150 to $200 per rental, and that covers for me to stay 2 to 3 weeks of my own and pay for it. So it actually worked out great for us. But then things ended up changing. So in 2018, we ended up coming to Molokai. We liked it, and we ended up looking for a condo here. So we bought a condo here on Molokai in 2018, and then in 2019 I was able to transfer through work over to Oahu. So we got to Hawaii much quicker than I thought, because we knew we wanted to try to retire here. So when we came to Hawaii, my wife retired, and so I just continued renting my weeks. But because we were here on Hawaii, we still use them now. So I own another a week and a half at the Maui Schooner on Maui, and we use that personally. And then I've got this week here at the Kinani Kai on Molokai, and that's actually where Cliff is staying now. And it works out nice for a family comes, and I will rent it out if I need to. But we would usually have friends or family come, or if we're working on our condo, it works out great for us to be able to just come stay over here and get out of anybody's way for redoing our bathroom or something like that. So it's worked out really. It's really easy. All I have to do for the rentals is, I have a lot of repeat customers, and the repeats come. They contact me a year in advance, and then at the Pono Kai, this is just the way Pono Kai works. I'm able to book the exact unit that they want, for their time frame. So they're all set. They've been there before. They know the drill. I don't have to worry about if there's any problems. If there's a problem with the unit, it's like a hotel. They just go down to the front desk and take care of it. So it's very simple. I make, so I'll have to call and make a phone call to make a reservation. 5 or 6 times a year. I have many people that rent 4 or 5 weeks from me, even 6 weeks. I even had one lady one year rented 8 weeks from me. So it's only a few phone calls. I get the confirmations, I email it to them, and that's basically it. So it's worked for me. I've been doing that since 2011. And there's different ways to do different places are all a little bit different, but this is what works for me, and it's worked. And I'm going to continue to do this for a while, and then I'll still use some weeks for myself for when I need to go back to the mainland or go to the other islands.
Well, thanks, Jeff. Actually, thanks for multiple reasons. Thanks for letting me stay here on Molokai. It's been fantastic. If you ever get a chance, come on out. But anyway, I hope that helps. There's obviously, I'm the beginner, just learning that, and you got the expertise of somebody who's been doing it for over a decade. And so there are many ways to do that. So I guess what I want to leave you with is, if you need to, you can't use your points and you can't extend them or beyond that, then there is the option to rent them out. And so again, that makes the value from owning a timeshare is less risk to you. So I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.